Hey everyone! My name is Seth Kaltwasser. I'm the Director of Development for St. Croix Festival Theater, and I am here in this Zoom room with our Arts Education Director, Brooke Smith. Hey Brooke!
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for coming here to the Zoom room today to talk with me. We just want to hear about all the work that you're doing as Arts Education Director, what that looks like, why arts education is meaningful, how it looks totally different in the year 2020 when everything looks totally different. Where are you? Why don't you just start by telling us where you are?
Right now, I am actually in South Carolina visiting my boyfriend at his family's house. So I'm usually in Tennessee, and that's where I'll be this evening around 9 o'clock.
Okay. Are you driving?
Yeah. It's only like 3 hours. It's not a flyable measure.
That's not so bad. Bristol, Tennessee is where you usually are.
Bristol.
And what's Bristol's catchphrase or motto or whatever?
Well, I didn't even know this. If people know Daryl Johnston, who has worked at Festival Theater, when I told him I was from Bristol, he said, "Push." And I said, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "That's the Bristol catchphrase. Push. That's Bristol." And I looked it up, and apparently it is, but only for Daryl.
It's so fascinating. I don't know what it could mean. It's evocative. It could mean many different things.
Oh, yes. I don't know that evocative is what people would use to describe Bristol, but maybe now.
Push. It's a kind of push. It's like, it's aggressive. It's inspiring. It's
a single word.
It's a single word.
Like
it's to the point. It's concise. Mm-hmm. All right. Great. Well, yeah, leave it to Daryl Johnston to be the person that randomly knows that. Okay, I'm going to cut right to the hard pressing questions. Right to the heart of the matter, okay? How many times have you watched Hamilton since Friday when it was released?
I haven't watched it yet because I've been with my boyfriend, and my sister said, "You have to watch it with me." And I said, "Okay, I promise I'll watch it with you." So hopefully tonight, it could get up to 3, 4, 5 in one day.
It could, yeah. Well, okay, I respect that if it's because you have a sister pact and you have to wait. Have you seen it live?
No, gosh, I wish. Oh, but I've listened to the soundtrack as many times as a human possibly could. So, recording. Sorry.
It's so good. It's very good. I saw it in Chicago last year, and I think the video does a really good job of capturing the whole experience as much as a video can. I think they do a great job. And I'm very excited,
specifically to see Renee Elise Goldsberry, who just.
She is so good. Yeah, it's amazing. Makes me happy to think about all the people enjoying theater at home right now, even though they can't be there. Okay, let's talk festival theater. You are the arts education director. Let's start with like a normal year, right? What does that job look like in a normal year?
In a normal year, the arts ed director is mostly handling our youth and family series shows, and by handling I mean like facilitating parent communication and just sort of being on the team and making sure things are going up and it's all going well, as well as making the resource guides that go out with all of our shows. And then right now specifically, we would be gearing up. I think next week would have been our first week of Art in Action, our week-long theater summer camp that we do every year. We would be going to St. Croix Falls and then traveling around the St. Croix Valley to different places. We would be doing it in person. So in the weeks leading up, I would have been working with our summer intern company for teacher training and getting everything ready. And then we would be off, which would be wonderful.
Right. The day camp is such a great program because it normally takes a lot of festival theaters programming and experiences out into different communities so that, we're in Brandsburg, we're in Clear Lake, we're all over. What does a typical day of summer camp look like? What kinds of activities are campers doing?
So usually we wake up very early, which is difficult for all of us because I don't think I've ever met a morning person, a
Yeah,
true
right.
one.
Yeah, mythological creatures and theater artists. We,
Especially.
yeah, right.
So then we take one car, a single car, we pile into my red Ford Focus and travel to wherever we're going. We get there, we set things up. The kids start coming in around 8:30, and we always start with a warm-up activity. So that might be something like drawing a scene from the play they're working on, or playing a game, or dance day. Dance day, we play freeze dance, which is my favorite. So it could be anything like that. And then we break off into our small groups. If you don't know camp, the premise of Art in Action is that our campers are taking their own original play. So they're writing it on the very first day. We're all writing it together. And then for the rest of the week, they are rehearsing it, and our teaching artists are directing them and helping them out. And they're getting ready all for their final showcase, which happens on Friday, which is the end of the camp week. So we break into small groups, and we might do something like rehearse for the morning or play a lot of theater games so that you can sort of get an idea of this is what it's like to be a professional theater artist. And then we split up for snack time, excellent time, back to small groups, which is usually a reverse of whatever we did in the morning. So one group might have played a lot of games and might be rehearsing heavy in the afternoon, or a group might have been designing their backdrop for their set. So then they're switching and rehearsing in the afternoon, or they might have been choreographing their own original dance, and then they're switching and rehearsing in the afternoon. So we'll do that in small groups. Then we all come together at the end of the day for a big group activity. Everyone's favorite game is Barricade, which is a big group game, sort of like Red Rover, but you just have to see it. So we'll do something like that. And then we say, what did we talk about today? And they're always really great and being like, this is what we talked about. And then we say, bye, we'll see you tomorrow. And that's awesome. The day.
So good. The other thing that's so nice about summer camp too is it's a really great first engagement with festival. If there's a young kid who's maybe curious about theater or curious about performing arts or curious about arts in general, but doesn't feel ready to audition for a show or something like that, the summer day camp is really fun, and you have kids of all different experience levels and background, and a lot of kids who are just exploring and trying it out. So that's great. Since we're talking about it, let's just cut to the chase. There is a version of a summer day camp happening this year in 2020, correct?
Yes, we are going virtual, just like the rest of the world. I'm very excited. It will be over Zoom, which is what we're doing now. But it's still the same premise. We are still writing our own original play. I'm hoping that it will be something that this is up to the kids because they'll write it, but something that lends itself to Zoom, almost like a lot of people now are doing plays that are made for Zoom.
Yeah.
So it's people talking over a Zoom call. And I think that's so cool just to be
so
able to
smart.
use the medium. This is what we have and this is what we're doing. And that's theater. It's adaptation. So that's Absolutely. What I'm hoping will sort of happen in camp, something like that. If it doesn't, whatever, it'll still be super cool. So it's the same premise. We're going to be writing our own original play and rehearsing it and playing modified games over the Zoom format. And we'll still be designing backdrops and stuff because Zoom does something very cool where it lets you put up your own backdrop. I'm like, well, then great. We can all just do our own. That's going to be awesome. So I'm still really excited. It's going to be a little different, but not super different. I think we'll still hit on the same sort of things that hold the camp together. And I think it's still an awesome just first experience with theater. If you don't know anything about theater, you've never done theater before, that's totally fine. You'll come out of the week with all these new terms in your head and also with some experience and some comfortability being in the public eye.
Absolutely. Is our registration still open?
Yes, they should be open on our website, I think, right now. And on our website, there's also registration forms. If you don't want to pay over the internet, you can mail those in to us at Festival Theater. And there's also some more information about, this is sort of the format. And then once you sign up, about 3 days before camp, you'll get an email from me with a Zoom room link and just some more info about everything that's going down. So festivaltheater.org. If you click on Arts Ed, there will be a little drop-down menu that will say Art in Action. You click on that, and everything is there.
Excellent. And what's the schedule?
It is Monday through Friday. I think it is from 9 to 11:30. So it's a
Okay.
little shorter than our usual camps, mostly just because I know how difficult it is to stare at a screen for 4 hours a day.
Right.
So it's
Yep.
just a little shorter, but that's mostly just taking out things like snack break, and then we'll take out some of the games that we play, especially because not everything works over Zoom, unfortunately, which is both the beauty of live theater and the sadness since we can't be together.
Yes. So yeah, festival theater has not been able to do live performances in the building since mid-March. So of course our calendar has changed dramatically, and the types of work that we're doing on a day-to-day basis have changed so much. So what does that look like for our arts education director? What have the last 4 months been like on your end?
Like pretty much everyone at work, I've been working from home. So I don't get to go into the office and see my pals. And then I was scheduled to come home originally. My best friend was getting married and I was in her wedding. And then I just sort of hung out for a while because I've been helping with like my family being here, and no one's working. So everyone helps around the house and whatnot. But what that mostly means is answering many emails. There's many email chains going around with the staff at Festival Theater, which is great. But it's sad because those are my friends, they're my pals, and I don't get to go in and say, "Hey, Jay Rich, what's up?" And he can be like, "Brooke, how's it going?" And I say, "The usual," and he says, "That good, huh?" And that's our daily interaction. So, don't get to have that, which is very sad.
I agree. Yeah, it's the doing things online really streamlines everything. It's like just like the business,
Mhm.
and you miss out on just sort of the fun of just working around in the office together. Brooke, as our arts education director, I'm curious. Your whole job is about creating experiences for young people and to kind of facilitate some of their earliest interactions with theater and building skills that will benefit them if they go on to do theater, also benefit them in whatever jobs that they do. And I'm curious, what was a young Brooke Smith's earliest experiences making theater? When did it start for you?
I was in the 3rd grade Christmas play at my elementary school, and I just wanted this mid-level part that I was like, well, that seems cool. And as a 3rd grader, I had a very loud voice, and I think they really liked that.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
So I got a completely different part. It was like the villain of the story, like the Scrooge. I was like, oh my gosh, okay. But it was just so much fun. I was like, I just loved it so much. And then after that, I don't think I ever wanted to do anything else except for like in 8th grade when I was really watching Grey's Anatomy and decided I was going to be a heart surgeon. But what I really wanted to be was an actor playing a heart surgeon. So
right, it's not the same, but yeah, it's that's one of the great things about being an actor is you get to do all of those things that you want to do. I saw a recent post. It was like a meme from Grey's Anatomy, and it was like, if there's one thing I've learned from watching 14 seasons of Grey's Anatomy, it's how to flirt while you're wearing a face mask. So, like life skills in the year 2020.
Exactly what we need right now.
So you were the villain of the Christmas thing. Did you just hate Christmas, or did you like not want to buy people presents, or what was your problem?
It was a play within a play.
Okay.
So it was a school putting on a Christmas play within the play. And the director has left for whatever reason. And then I took over the role of the director, and I was very bossy and mean and just
had no Christmas spirit.
No. And my big number, it was a musical. My big number was called "I'm Taking Over." And I can remember not all the words.
Give us the first line. Do you have the first line? You don't have to sing it, but it's...
I'll sing it. I only remember it in tune, Seth.
Oh, okay, great.
It's like, I'm taking over. I'm gonna be the boss.
Yes.
No compromising. The script you can toss. And it was so dramatic. I was like,
that might come in handy for Monday morning of day camp. You can just start with that.
Just lead off really intense. Everyone will know what they're getting in for.
My first real performance was also a Christmas play. It was sixth grade, and it was also a musical. So we had that in common. Mine was like, I don't remember the details, but it was like there was like a financial crisis at the North Pole or something. Like they were out of money or something. And it was like, how is there going to be Christmas if we don't have money? And so that their solution was they like took everybody, Mr. and Mrs. Claus and the elves, to Branson to put on a show. Because they're like, we're going to put on a show in Branson and raise a lot of money. Because we all know how much money we make putting on shows. And that was it. That was it. My character was like an elf who was doing like an Elvis bit. So that was it.
And then Elf to grown-up Seth in David Sedaris's
Sandland Diary. You know, you're right. You're right. It's really come full circle. Okay, great. So third grade. And then you said you kind of knew from then on that you wanted to do it. Did you, were you able to, stay involved in elementary school, or was it more not until high school, or what was the rest of that arc
like middle school theater classes, which is sad. But we did have high school theater. So I did it all through high school, and I did forensics all through high school, which if you don't know is like competitive speech and debate. Which is fun. I did debate and I did like the acting part of it. And then I did community theater. I guess I started community theater when I was like 16 because I played lots of sports too. So it's hard to sort of fit community theater schedules in there. But I tore my ACL when I was 16 or 17. So I couldn't play basketball anymore, but I still played volleyball. So then I had more time, and it sort of opened up a new world from a sad thing. Like, got to do more fun things.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's cool. All leading up to 2018 when you came to St. Clair Festival Theater for the first time. In the Fantastics.
Directed by Seth Kaltwasser.
Directed by me. You were wonderful in that. That was our first chance to work together. And in fact, we haven't really worked on a lot of the same shows since then. So
I know. What's
going on? We should have been in Into the Woods right now. But the world had other plans. What do you see with, I think, for me, I think one of the great things about doing arts education at festival is that you work with the same kids over and over and over again, and you do it over the course of years. I mean, I have done some arts education with other companies, and it's like, you work with a group of kids for a week, and then you go somewhere else and work with a group of kids for a week. But festival is so great because you get to build relationships over time. I mean, I have people who are have graduated and gone into college who I worked on projects when they were in elementary school when I first came to festival 10 years ago. So that's so cool. What are, do you have any like specifics about just over the last 2 years, seeing groups of kids go through the programming, specific skills that you think they really develop, or just, the special parts about like not only one engagement with theater, but the prolonged engagement with performing arts?
Yeah, definitely. Oh, there's so many. It's been great, just like you said, just to be with the same kids all the time. And like something that's so magical is when you go into an audition and there's a kid you do not know at all. You've never seen this kid before, and they are just so full of potential and just wonderful. And then you get to cast them in that show and then see them in other shows. One specific example I'm thinking of, I don't know if you know her, Kylie Hawkinson, who was in Anne of Green Gables and then went on to be Margot in Anne Frank. Like, that was amazing. And then Fern in Charlotte's Web. And she's just one of so many kids who it's like, they make these beautiful impressions and you're like, oh, and they just keep growing and becoming little adults. Like, oh my goodness, this is a fully realized human being, and maybe we've helped them be that way. Another kid who, Eliana Nagelin just graduated high school, and she has done stuff with us. Yeah. I mean, way before I got here, when she was a tiny little baby. Mm-hmm. And now she's 18 years old, and she's going on, and she's hopefully going to continue doing theater, and that's just amazing. And hopefully that's because of some influence that we've had.
Yeah, absolutely. That's Yeah, it's one of my favorite things about working at festival theater is to kind of continue to build those relationships over time. I also think something that's great about just the way that arts education department is structured is, first of all, there's just kind of opportunities for everybody. I mean, we have some kids on stage who are 6 years old and doing their first show. And then sometimes they'll start at 6 and keep doing shows through high school. And then there are other kids who, show up to audition for the first time when they're 15. And they say, I've never done this before in high school and I want to explore it. And so I think kind of no matter what age you are, no matter what your experience level is, festival theater finds a way to use you and get you on stage in one show or another. And I think that's great because I think sometimes you feel like, oh, if you didn't start at a certain age, you can't just jump in when you're in high school or something, but you totally can. I mean, there's really opportunities for everybody, and every show has its own set of needs. And so sometimes, you need a lot of older kids, sometimes you need a lot of younger kids, and it's fun to be able to plug people in, find the right fit and the right spot for them. There's this, fundraising, I'm always kind of, watching for reports about just studies to show the benefit of arts education and arts engagement. And there's this report I've been talking about all year because I read about it this spring, but it was an NEA report from a theater in New York City, New Victory Theater is the name of it. And the report is called Envisioning the Future of Theater for Young Americans. But there's this quote in it I just love. I think it's so cool. It says, children who engaged with theater exhibited a more optimistic outlook toward their future than peers who did not. These children can imagine different futures, ones that include attending college. Speaking metaphorically, young people discover and develop hope through the performing arts. I think that's so cool and so exciting. And it's like, hope, you can't measure hope. There's no way to really say, did they develop hope or not? But the idea of talking to kids about their futures and, whether they were optimistic about their future or not. And from my experience, doing a lot of work with young theater artists over the last decade, it feels very real, is that, working in theater and developing those skills and also developing your, collaboration skills, your ability to work with different kinds of people and solve problems together and think creatively, that all of that then creates a more optimistic outlook in general about your future and your opportunities and what the world could look like in the future. So that's incredible.
I especially love what it said about imagine a world. Like something so small, like the gift of imagination can do so much. Especially, we're thinking about now, we're in one of the most tumultuous times ever. You can imagine a world where we can hug people again, and you can imagine a world hopefully without racism and without, poverty, and just the gift of imagination is something, that's just priceless. And I hope that's something that we are able to help facilitate. I think it is, especially, like we've been talking about art in action. I think that's one of our biggest things with that, even more than we hope you come out of it, knowing more about theater and how to structure a play. But if you just come out of it knowing that your imagination can create something new, oh my gosh, what a way to open up a whole world.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that's just absolutely true for theater artists is that we are resourceful and we know how to create something really exciting and really magical, even if the situation is difficult. And I do think it's one of the reasons I keep going back to that study specifically this year, because it's just like, if there ever was a time when hope and a younger generation that was fueled by hope was important, I just feel like, well, that's now. And yeah, I do believe that the performing arts do that they foster and cultivate this, I kind of think like optimism is a skill. It takes a certain kind of skill to be optimistic, to imagine the future and to have the capability to say it can be different and it can be better and we can figure out how to get it there. And I think that arts and engagement with the arts absolutely does that. And the younger, the better.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
Okay, let's go back to Hamilton. What's your favorite number? Do you have a favorite number? Or maybe a favorite like character or storyline or
Well, I love Angelica, of course. Talk about a powerful woman. But I
Yeah,
think, Aaron Burr comes in. Wait for it. Life-changing.
I'm
When I
telling you.
first heard that song, I was like, oh.
I'm telling you. Yeah, and Leslie Odom Jr. is incredible. He's incredible. That was like one of my biggest takeaways from the filmed version, because the whole cast is amazing. The whole cast is incredible. But I thought he was really standout.
Ugh, I'm so excited. I mean, just listening to him, it's like this voice, like butter, just washing over me, and just,
Yeah,
I'm thrilled.
so good. So good. Okay, what are you most excited about? About when you think about, eventually getting in the same room again as other theater artists. We don't know exactly what the timeline is. We don't know exactly when that will happen or what the project will be. But what do you get most excited about when you think about that?
I'm most excited, besides just like seeing my friends and things, like just the thought of being with an audience is wonderful. Because I think maybe if you haven't been on stage before, there's something so different about doing something in front of an audience who's come to see you, just the way it elevates everyone's performance. And that's not to say people aren't working hard in rehearsal or, in dress rehearsals or even in previews. But when you have your first audience there, it's like the energy just feeds you so much. And not just, everybody in the show. And it just really is fully realized, as a performance. Because the
Absolutely.
audience, that's the final piece.
Yep, totally. I mean, I feel like one of the things that's becoming like, I've always felt this way, but I'm like feeling it in such a extreme way right now, is just the uniqueness of theater.
Mm-hmm.
The way, like, yeah, that there are, we live in a time where we're just like, we have like an abundance of riches of ways to like tell stories and, share experiences and engage with each other. And there's just unlimited ways to do that now. And, thousands of years later, there's just something about it happening in real time and with a group of people who are sharing the moment together, and it can't be replicated. It's so yeah. I mean, I can't wait to get back in the theater again. I'm going to be there as soon as I can be.
And I know, I think there's been concern, especially with like taped performances. Will people go back to the theater if you can just watch Hamilton on Disney Plus? But
Yeah.
I think that just shows how magical it is to be there. I think seeing Hamilton on Disney Plus would just have to make you say, I have to see that live.
Yeah,
I have to be in the room.
Yeah, and I know people who have said that. Now they watched it this weekend. I can't wait to go see it. Yeah, I think so too. And I mean, I think just in general too, we're all gonna come out of this excited about the opportunity of live theater, and just I think we're all gonna take away that, like, wow, it's important to be together. Whether that's, at a religious service or at a theater or at a restaurant. I mean, I think we're all going to really feel that yes, there's a lot of ways to digitally stay connected. And thank goodness. I mean, can you imagine this happening pre-internet?
No.
But so yeah, thank goodness for all those things. And also, it'll be so great to just be together.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what other questions do I have? Did I miss anything that you want to talk about?
I don't think so, wonderful Seth. Is there anything
you
want to talk about?
I mean, I get to be the host. It's great because I can just talk about whatever I want to talk about. If you were going to recommend one of our previous quarantine YouTube videos, we've been putting stuff out kind of on a weekly basis. What would be your hot pick for people who are just watched this riveting conversation and are now like, I need some more festival theater content?
I think it's got to be The Witch of Pickle Patch, because you're in it. I'm in it. Kimberly Braun is in it, who is one of my very best friends.
Yeah.
And there's a million more other wonderful people in it. And I love our workshop videos. I think they're wonderful. But sometimes you just need a nice narrative to watch and get to see something that's hopeful and happy and fulfilling. So Witch of Pickle Patch would have to be right now my number one.
It's true, right? It's true. Okay, last question.
Okay.
Unless we think of another one. Last question. Neither you or I is in the St. Clair Valley right now. I'm in Minneapolis. So do you have a St. Clair Valley restaurant or other local business that you can't wait to get back and enjoy?
I think it'd have to be the drive-in. I'm a vegetarian, almost a year. I'm very excited about that.
Wow,
And they
congratulations.
have the best veggie burger.
Really?
And you can get it with cheese curds. You can get it with fries. You can get a little side salad if you want. But most importantly, you can get a milkshake.
Yes. Yes. Great. Okay, good. What's your milkshake flavor?
I switch it up. Strawberry is my always go-to, but I'll try anything.
Okay. All right. I respect that. All right. Well, good. What's the weather like there? How hot is it?
Very hot. It's been in the 90s for most of the week, but rainy, so it's like muggy.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Minneapolis, our heat index is supposed to be like over 100 today.
Oh my gosh. No.
I know. So it's a good day for a milkshake, maybe. Okay, Brooke, it's so nice to talk to you. I miss you.
I miss you, Seth. Wonderful Seth.
Okay, well, take care, and we'll be emailing each other in no time. Bye.
Bye.